Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Marginal Support, where support is anything but marginal. This week, we are joined by a really great guest. Honestly, it's a person I've learned a lot from. He's very knowledgeable, but I won't say any more than that. But I will say, welcome, Kenji, to the show. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's great that we got to meet in person not too long ago. So, for me, I guess my elevator pitch is I've only worked in support. I'm a support purist. I've worked whether it's taking phone calls, tier 2, tier 1, ops, managing team, building teams. Like support has kind of become my career at this point. I mean, it is my career. I work at Front today, so obviously I've been here for 7 years now, and it's been awesome. I think more recent, this is like in the past year, it's been the most fun and fulfilling of my career, just because I've figured out ways to blend like what I get paid for at work and like what I do as a hobby. Almost too much. I'm trying to cut down on the hobby stuff because I don't want to be that boring. But yeah, I've kind of found like my thing, and support is it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, what I said in my introductory episode was that support is just something that people kind of fall into, or they do, but it's one of the most grueling jobs, but it's also one of the most rewarding jobs people have out there. And I think it's one of those jobs that is not appreciated enough, hence the name marginal support. The fact that
That
we work a job that a lot of people think, oh, this whatever, but then I think when you have companies where everyone has to take a ticket, or they have to at least feel what the customer's feeling, it creates a lot of empathy for the team itself also.
yeah, we've done that, and I like that we are not that we're marginal, but like sometimes I think people forget like support's one of the most stable jobs you can have in a company. And it's because like if you ask the CEO what are some of the first roles you're going to hire, it's like, yeah, they'll probably get their sales folks or engineers, but eventually you're going to need support, and support's something that you're going to have and provide like throughout that life cycle. I've been at Front long enough to see, you see the revenue, the folks who get paid on commissions, and you've got the marketing. Like those are really high paying, high risk, high reward jobs. And support, we're kind of in the middle. So I sometimes forget, like I do appreciate the stability, that we have. Because even in like the rough times, you're still going to have to take care of your customers. And when we're growing, you're going to need more support. So I do my best to like give shine to my team, but I also remind them like, this is a pretty sweet gig. Like we are needed, even in this age of AI. Like human support is becoming more valuable. Our job is changing. But I asked our CFO, I was like, so what do you think about support? Like what, if we were going to shrink down to 5, 10 people, like who would you keep? And like support's on that list, because you have to retain your customers. Even if you're not growing, you still have to take care of the customers you have brought on. So yes, I don't want us to be marginal, but I also kind of like being in this middle space of we're a little safer in some senses.
I completely agree with that. It's support is one of those roles where I don't think a lot of people outside of sport understand what we do, or they try to look at metrics. They try to look at, well, look what good our CSAT is, or look what our time to resolution is, right? But I don't think that really ever tells the full story. And I remember I saw a newsletter that you actually put out where you actually created something new that kind of tries to paint maybe a better picture, or just give it a better idea. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah. I think you're talking about Axis. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So first of all, this is why it's my favorite year. I'm just doing a lot of things that I've never done before. So I never thought that you could create your own metric. Like that was just, and I think a lot of us don't. So if you're watching this, you can. Like there's nothing stopping you. If you see a gap that doesn't exist yet, like you should go and make it. So if you've never heard of Axis, which is probably 99% of you, Axis is AI Experience Impact Score. You can think of it like customer effort score and QA for AI. And it blends 3 data points. It blends the resolution accuracy, the handoff smoothness, and the effort the customer had to go to. And it's specifically focused not on the human. It's focused on AI. So it's like AI having its own boss, right? Because right now, I think every company approaches it blended. They'll say they'll have DSAT or BSAT or CSAT, which is very human centric. But most people hate talking to AI, and so they're always going to give them a bad rating. Like if you give the human a chance, like do a thumbs up, thumbs down, they're 90% of the time they're going to do a thumbs down. So like what is really happening with the customer before they reach you. Because if you think about it, you want to know that as leadership, one, because now the face of your company is AI. It's not Andre and Kenji on the front line who have all this experience and we're going to deliver. You're kind of like making a bet that the AI, whatever it is, chatbot interaction is going to be really good. And it's actually probably not, because I was shocked. So I created this metric, and the first step that I did was I wrote a white paper on it, which is something I always wanted to do. So I was like, I can't just make it out of thin air. I'm going to test this. And so I tested it with our own chatbot for months, and I got feedback from my team, and I refined it over time. And essentially we use AI, so any LLM, whether you want to use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, it's not as complicated as it sounds. So just imagine you've got an AI chatbot. Instead of Andre and Kenji being that person who's like QAing it all the time, you just have another AI who is trained to be the boss, like the boss of this chatbot. And so that was the whole theory. And it actually works. And it works really well because it takes us out of it, and you kind of have to separate the two. Like, I don't want to judge my team. I want to keep judging my team on the metrics that I know work. But for AI, I'm going to hold that to a different standard, almost to a higher standard in some ways, because now they are the face of company. And here's where it matters for support people. By the time it gets to you, because you can imagine, like, we used to go, okay, by the time it gets to tier 2, customers gonna be super pissed because it's already gone through tier 1. Now, by the time it gets to tier 1, it's gone through all of this kind of like the hurdles of working with AI. And so it makes it that much harder to deliver a good experience if you don't have a great front-loaded, like, automated experience.
How do you feel that the score works? Does the score take into consideration how much information the AI is taking in? If it got proper information, if it gave proper information, is it kind of taking hallucinations into the factor in that all as well?
Yeah, it's specifically looking at and you can do this with a screenshot actually, and you can, when we post this, we can link I created like a free ChatGPT version that anybody can use. It's just looking at the transcript that AI and the customer are having up until the point it gets handed off. So it is looking at accuracy. Most of the time, we're not at the point where it's troubleshooting. Like maybe a few months from now, 6 months from now, that's the case. But it's really like, how did you identify the customer's issue? Did you get them to a human quick enough? Were they pissed off and saying, human, escalate me? It's just looking for all these different triggers, and we've kind of fine-tuned the prompts to look for like a good experience. Like, we've defined what a really good AI experience is, and so it's judging on those criteria. It's on a score of 1 to 5, and then based on the score you get on those 3 things, you get an average. You think about it like your CSAT score. You get an average access score. 5 is amazing, 1 is pretty poor, and the cool thing is you actually can get feedback live from that. So you can be like, instead of, my CSAT score is 70, now what? I have to go dig into the DSATs and figure out what I need to fix for the customers. For an access score, it actually tells you right away like what went wrong. So it gives you the score plus the summary of like why it didn't think that was a good interaction with the customer, which is super helpful, because then you can go back, tweak the workflow in the chatbot, and then make sure that never happens again, so your score goes up over time.
That's great. I mean, it sounds pretty efficient. I'm curious, what was the genesis for this? Or like, what was your aha moment when you said, this is something that I can build, or like, I think I'm onto something right here?
Yeah, so about, I think it's like 8 months ago, so maybe November of 2024, I was taking an AI course. And so this is like before everyone was making it mandatory. I just felt like, I've been here for 7 years. I want to keep reinventing myself. We've got a new CEO starting. He's obviously very focused on AI. So I think I should invest in a course. And so I took this online course in my spare time after work from UC Berkeley. And it took me 9 weeks. Part of the course was they have this thing called the capstone project. And so it kind of culminates with, okay, take something that's a real problem from work, take everything that you've learned about AI and building, and then that's your project. So actually Access was my project for this class. And all it was slides at one point. I was just like, here's the problem I have. I know for a fact people hate our chatbot experience, and I'm very open to say that. But I can't prove it. And the problem with that, it's dangerous because executives will get so attracted to the deflection rate, they don't care if it sucks or not. They're just going to go like, we're just saving buttloads of money. Like, as long as the deflection rate's high, we're good. And for me, like, that, I did not sit well. So that became the genesis for the project. And then after I did the project, I was like, man, this is pretty good, I think. And so I went into again, like AI, I went to like ChatGPT and I uploaded my project and I was like, okay, what can I do next? And so I just kind of talked to I call it Ken GPT, which is my AI version of me, and just kind of spitballed. And then I was like, this seems like a pretty viable thing. Why don't we just test it? And so I just started randomly testing it myself. I didn't tell my team. I was just grabbing screenshots from our chats, from the inbox, feeding it into that, fine tuning the model. And then when I felt pretty confident with it, I showed it to my team and I was like, guys, like, you don't have to hold back. Like, please tell me if this is not good and tell me if you're not comfortable with us actually running this in production. And they really loved it. And so I just thought, man, I'm gonna keep rolling with it. And so that's just been the momentum since. Is I've just took it from an idea that I did in a class, made some kind of like minimal lovable project version, and just have gotten feedback from a lot of people, like especially in the community. So shout out to Craig Stoss, who's like one of the first people that I reached out to because I really respected his view on metrics and like the new wave of metrics. And I was like, what do you think about this? He's like, damn it, why didn't I come up with this? And I was like, that's when you know it's a good idea, when the other person's like, that's pretty good.
I'm curious, there is one person in the community that is pretty famous for being pretty harsh on metrics in general. He has a very funny name newsletter. Zach Hamilton. Unblank or unfuck your, excuse the language, unfuck your CX. I'm curious, have you heard any feedback from him or have you tried to talk to him? Because that is one man that is actually very, very critical with metrics in general.
No, I would love his feedback. And like that's the thing too, is like when I released it so the stages where I made the project in a class, I actually created a working formula. I put it into front and then I published the newsletter going like, hey, here's this thing. I hope people like it, but I'm really looking for feedback. So I got a lot of people messaging me and giving me feedback. I haven't heard from Zach specifically, but I would love any critical feedback because that's how you improve it. Like I don't know if it's perfect or not, but I think it's the fact that there's such a gap in metrics that focus on AI or just metrics that have changed. I want more people to do it. So like my other goal was I hope I inspire others to think outside of the box and go like access is not it's not the only new metric, but it's the only new metric that's come out in like 15 years, which is insane to me. So I think the new trend is going to be people blending different metrics together to create new ones, just like I did. I just took 3 existing frameworks, smashed them together, put it in a new use case. You can do the same thing. And like the next thing I'm hopefully going to figure out is I would love if like I could figure out how to prove support is not a cost center through some magical metric that blends like every perfect thing, like upsells and like, you know, retention. Like then I would just retire. I'd be like, I'm set for life because that's, if anyone in support can figure that out, they should get the Nobel Prize.
Absolutely agree. I mean, everyone who works support knows that yes, we do cost a lot of money, but you take support out of the picture and a company's going to be hurting big time. I mean, I know from past experiences where I created uplift programs myself, that was money that basically support was generating, but it was being recognized by the CSNs. But this program would never came into place unless support thought of it first. So yeah, if you could prove that support is actually a revenue driving department, yeah, you could live.
I think people have done it. People have absolutely done it, but not like we're still having this conversation. I was talking to Shep Hyken, who's like somebody I've looked up to forever. He's like, even like 40 years ago, this is the chicken and the egg. Like this is a conversation that's like, is support cost center or a value driver? Nobody's had this answer yet, and I don't know. So I just think it's interesting. Can like AI help with that and those kind of things? But the next step for me, which is I haven't told anyone this, by the way, Andre, so you are gonna hear this first. I'm actually gonna start a company to create access as a product. So it's like a side hustle. So I'm doing a little side hustle. I don't care if I make a cent off of it, but the number one question that I get from people who want to use access, which is actually more than I anticipated, like I'll get DMs of like, but dude, this is so hard to implement and I don't use front. And so I want to make a marketplace integration version for Zendesk, for Intercom, for Freshdesk, for front, so that it's help desk agnostic. Because a lot of the times like you'll have people gatekeeping metrics. So like only Intercom has this, only front has this. I just want to make something that's universally, you can use it, it's plug and play, like what doesn't matter what system you use. So that's the goal. And I took the step of like filing an LLC. Like we're in California, like, you know, like that's very simple, but it's like, it makes it feel more official to me. So me and another person I'm working with are going to try to build it out.
That's amazing that I'm already breaking news on the show. So there
There you
you go.
go. Boom. You heard it here first.
Excellent. Well, we are almost out of time here, but I wanted to give you also a little bit of time at the end to pretty much do what you just did. Tell me what's exciting you these days. What are you working on? Is there something cool that you want to tell people about?
Yeah, so I know that you are in Asia right now, right? I'm also going to be there. So I'm going to be in Tokyo from June to August. I'm actually taking like the most time off I've ever taken in probably 7 years. So I'm taking basically all of June off to try to get started on writing a book. I have no idea what I'm doing. And so I'm like learning from scratch and I'm going to try to do this, within that month. I also have young kids, so I'm very realistic. I'm definitely not going to finish in June, but my hope is to get like an outline, and then as I just start coming up with chapters, share that with folks. If you follow me on LinkedIn, let's connect, because I really want this to be a book for everybody. And so if you are like, I would love to see this, I'm open to ideas because I am just starting from a blank slate. Yes, I have things I know I want to get in there, but I also want to like take this opportunity to do something I'm really proud of. And so that's the big news. I'll be going to Japan. I'll be taking a month off work, working on my very first book, which is a big challenge, but I feel like saying that out loud will make me have to do it. So I'm going to put pressure on myself to see it through.
Speak it into existence, right? There you go.
Exactly. Yes.
I think, what you're talking about with Access and the book also just drives to the heart of what people are like in support, is that we always have this driving factor to help people. I mean, either it be, work, outside of work, it's just kind of baked into who we are. And so I think that's something that I always say that support's not for everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone can do it, but it truthfully is a grueling job. And so you actually have to have a passion for it to actually want to work in this field.
Especially if you want to stay in it, yeah, as long as we have. Like, if you want to make it a career, you have to love it because it's hard. So if you don't love it, it's probably not the right 10-year, 15-year. I think we've been in the game the same amount of time, but it's just, yeah, you've got to find your passion. And, the advice I would give is, even for us at this level, like, I'm finding new ways to stay excited about my job, because I could easily just kind of like keep doing what I'm doing. I have my playbooks. So just continue to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to try new stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do. And, that's my whole thing too. Is like, again, it's like, hopefully I can give back and inspire others to do the same, because the thing that makes us great in support is the same thing that makes us terrible at selling ourselves. And so like, we are the worst salespeople because we care so much and we think about ourselves last. But I would love to see more people, and I'm starting to see that, like you on LinkedIn, Neil, and other folks. Like, it actually is a great thing to see us promoting ourselves more, because we deserve it, and we shouldn't feel like we're not on the same scale as CSMs and marketing people. And so like, that's a driver too for me, which is I hate seeing the community look down on. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to do it too, because like, I want to just like get more people involved in this. So that's the other thing too, is I want to inspire more folks to do the same.
I couldn't agree more. Well, it looks like we are right at time, and so there's something I like to end each episode with. It's kind of the slogan for the show, and that is, support is not just a job, it's a mindset. So with that, thank you for joining us, Kenji, and I hope you have a great trip in Japan.
Thanks, Andre.
All right, bye.